Good evening, one and all present here. With the grace of God, once again under the bannership of heads, we all are gathered here for this wonderful initiative taken by Dr. Arna Vadkar. It is the third episode of Learning Lounge Conference where we are going to discuss the needs and issues of our current world and the ways to find out their solutions. Harvest Education Transformation Solutions has created a benchmark in the field of transforming education. Dr. Anna Vadkar, founder and managing director of HEADS, believes in real life examples rather than focusing on bookish knowledge. Beyond the boundaries, on the way of learning, she started many programs like Online International Student Exchange Program, On Her Stories, the True Intellectual Warriors, then Mentors Meet Conference, and now we are here with our third episode of our new program, Learning Lounge Conference. Today, on this wonderful occasion, we are delighted to have Dr. Anna Vadkar ma'am, Dr. Anurup Kaur ma'am, Dr. Shweta Sharma ma'am, student speakers, and other audience present here. I'm happy to share that since 2020, I have had a wonderful journey with HITS. HITS, Harvest Education Transformation Solutions, is registered with MSME, Government of India in May 2017, ISO 9001 2015 certified. Another progressive turn with the launch of HITS Pratishta India Trust NGO Foundation in 2021, where HITS aspires to empower women, children, and people across all genders, academic dropouts through education, develops knowledge, skill development, educational and corporate training, improving employability scope, assessment, and counseling projects. HEDS is an education consulting and service company exclusively dealing with end-to-end education service provider Pan India. Our team works with educational institutions in planning, developing, and managing educational institutions that meets their vision, mission, and goals. HEDS has more than a decade of experience setting up and running schools and preschools across the country. Transformation can happen only through focus and passion apart from learning, teaching, and leadership. I'm feeling proud to share that the true spirit behind such transformations is present among us. She is none other than Dr. Anna Vadkar ma'am. Dr. Anna Vadkar ma'am is the founder and managing director of HEDS, Harvest Education Transformation Solutions. She is the founder and chairperson of HEDS Pratishta India Trust and the resource person of Indiatka Learning Private Limited. Ma'am, may I request you to give your blessings with your motivating words and allow the conference to be opened.
Thank you so much, Rasleen. And we HEDS is so proud to have you all with us, with the team, as a team. And yes, we are growing little by little and step by step, yes. But nevertheless, Learning Lounge is one of the happening team where we will be going ahead with a lot of programs which are coming up and is in the pipeline due to some circumstances. Yes, we are delayed, but then slow and steady wins the race. That's what I believe in. Definitely, yes. So, yes, today, the SDG Sustainable Development Goals conference on Learning Lounge. Conference to be conducted. So the goals like 9, 10, 11, and 12, as I understand, will be the speakers will be talking about that. And yes, I declare the conference open. Rasleen, open to you. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your words are always motivating. We are blessed to have a mentor like you. Now, let's proceed with the third episode of the Learning Lounge Conference with a special guest, Dr. Shweta ma'am, a dedicated teacher for more than 5 years of experience in the field of education. She is PhD in botany and a very positive person with an enthusiastic outlook on life. Students love to be in her company. She promotes experiential and skill-based learning. I strongly believe that she will be a great support for the students in today's conference. Over to you, Shweta ma'am.
Thank you, Rasleen. So, good evening, everyone. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to transform our world. They are a call to action to end poverty and inequality, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy health, justice, and prosperity. There are three main sustainable development. First, the economic, which will help to attain balance, growth. Second, the environment to preserve the ecosystem. And the third, society, which will guarantee equal access to resources to all human beings. The key principle of sustainable development is the integration of environmental, social, and economic concern into all aspects of decision making. So today we have four speakers with us. First, Ms. Rasleen Kaur, a multi-talented girl. She is overall coordinator of HETS Youth League Association. She is a passionate dancer, singer, and very talented public speaker. She studies in grade 8 of Oxford School, Canada, and she will speak about SDG Goal 9. Next, we have Ayush. Ayush has recently passed 12th, and as of now, he is about to take admission in an IIT. He has interest in astronomy and computer and has decent speaking skills. He will speak about SDG Goal 10. Then we have Miss Kavya Banga. Kavya is a student of class 8 MDPS and is the HETS ambassador from India. She is good in public speaking, creative writing, and painting. She has performed in many national and international events. She will speak about SDG Goal 11. Last but not the least, we have Master Vyom Sharma. He is focused child studying in class 6. He likes to read books, play badminton, and he loves to explore about space and spacecrafts. He will speak about SDG Goal 12. So now it's time to see the presentation prepared by Ms. Rasleen Kaur. Over to you, Rasleen.
We all live to live with pleasure, but we forget the real treasure. It's not the question of measure. Let's say future without any pressure. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all present here from different parts of the world. Miss Linkar from Class 8 studying in Oxford School, Halifax, Canada. Today, I'm here to give you all an overview of UN SDG Goal number 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure. Before learning about it, first it's important to know what these three terms define. The first one is industry. This is a common term that all must have heard about it. There are various people working in different departments, branches, and sections of a company or an organization, which we often name as industry. It includes all types of works, specifically manufacturing, business, and craft related. For example, we have many educators here at this platform and teachers, hence, they are in the education industry. The next term is innovation. Someone has wisely penned the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. That's what I define as innovation because it's a process which involves innovating, and innovating is going above and beyond the horizons. As we complete the term innovation, we reach towards infrastructure. Infrastructure is a necessity in these days. As the human evolved, it became necessary to develop infrastructures. Nowadays, in order to function, every country needs proper infrastructures, which contains roads, bridges, dams, airports, harbors, and other basic structures. When all these factors are combined, it leads towards the actual result which SDG Goal 9 aims forward. Now, the question arises, what actually SDG Goal 9 is? In simple terms, it focuses on building adaptable infrastructures, promoting sustainable industrialization, and creating innovation. It also observes the need of technological innovation because of the reason seen in pandemic performance report. Before talking about something and taking action, it's important to view its facts and figures. Have a look at some of these facts mentioned in the UN site. It helps us identify the increase and decrease of the industry it has seen from 2019 to till date. Keeping these facts and figures in mind, the goal targets on 7 objectives to develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure by promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization. It also sees a need in the increasing of the access of small-scale startups and helping them upgrade and being sustainable. Goal 9 enhances scientific research that encourages innovation and facilitates sustainable infrastructures in developing countries. It aims towards supporting domestic technology development, research, and innovation. As we gain some knowledge about what it is, let's understand about why it is the necessity. The crucial statement is about how much progress we have made. If we see the report, it identifies that investment in research and development globally has increased, and indeed, it has shown an impressive progress. In the face of a rapidly changing global economic landscape and increasing inequalities, we observe the industrialization which gives priority to creating opportunities accessible to all the people, supporting the innovation and sustainable infrastructure. There are some people in the world that says it's not my job to look after this, but here's why you should actually care. The first thing is if the industrialization maintains its inclusiveness and sustainability along with innovation and infrastructure, it surely is going to give benefits by generating employment and income as it plays an essential role in introducing and promoting new technologies. As the new industries will see growth, it will mean the standard of living will be improved. And lastly, industries pursuing sustainability will obviously have a direct positive effect on the environment that you definitely can't ignore if you want your life to be sustained. So the next time you hear someone saying, I don't care, make sure to convince them by telling about the truth. If they still don't convince, tell them about the price of inaction, which is more steeper. The first point is that, as I said, it will help in increasing the employment rate. Alternatively, if we don't support SDG Goal 9, it will be difficult to end poverty. Secondly, consequences of not improving infrastructure and promoting technological innovation can be poor healthcare, inadequate sanitation, and limited access to education. And finally, when they can convinced, here's a checklist for how can we help in SDG Goal 9. The biggest help to reduce this problem is shifting of big industries to smaller units wherever it is not necessary. We can keep that part in residential areas where they can survive with lesser space, and secondly, working from home is the best option for the same. Working in shifts is also a good option. So I request everyone to come forward to find out the best way for industry, innovation, and infrastructure so that we can sustain our resources for our future generation. Let's work together and create a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasleen. It was amazing. Thank you for sharing the information, Rasleen. Now, next, I would like to call Ayush Watts. So, ma'am, can we have the video of Ayush as he told he has shared? Or can we play at the last? Okay, by the time I would like to call Kavya.
Can I get the screen share?
Yes. Okay, Ayush video is here. Ma'am, there is no audio.
Let's start with some facts. According to the stats, 1 in 5 people have experienced discrimination on at least one of the grounds prohibited under international human rights law. Adding to it, this pandemic has caused the first rise in between country income inequality in a generation. Good evening, everyone. I am Ayush Watts, and I'm here to speak on the Sustainable Development Goal 10 of the United Nations General Assembly. To tackle international issues like these, in 2015, the 193 member countries of the UN General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda, titled Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This agenda has 92 paragraphs. Paragraph 59 outlines the 7 Sustainable Development Goals and the associated 169 targets and 232 indicators. The mission statement of the agenda is a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. Each goal typically has 8 to 12 targets, and each target has between 1 and 4 indicators used to measure progress toward reaching the targets. One of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals is SDG 10, reduce inequalities within and among countries. Reducing inequalities and ensuring no one is left behind are integral to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Inequality within and among countries is a persistent cause for concern. So let's look at why is this goal important. Inequality exists in various forms such as economic, sex, disability, race, social inequality, and different forms of discrimination. Issues associated with health, pollution, and environmental justices are often inseparable with inequality. The effects of the COVID 19 pandemic appear to be reversing any positive trends of narrowing income inequality. The pandemic has also intensified structural and systemic discrimination. Emerging markets and developing economies are experiencing slow recoveries, widening disparities in income between countries. The number of refugees and migrant deaths worldwide reached the highest absolute number on record in 2021. From 1988 and 2008, the wealthiest 5% of the people captured 44% of global income, while little change for the poorest. In developing countries, income inequality rose by 11% between 1990 and 2010. With less income and fewer assets than men, women, particularly single mother households, are more likely to live below 50% of the median income. Evidence suggests that inequality between women and men in a household is a strong contributing factor to overall income inequality in society. So, what is the UN doing about it? This SDG calls for reducing inequalities in income as well as those based on age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, or economic or other status within a country. The goal also addresses inequality among countries, including those related to representation, migration, and development assistance. SDG 10 covers issues including reducing income inequalities 10.1, promoting universal social, economic, and political inclusion 10.2, ensure equal opportunities and end discrimination 10.3, adopt fiscal and social policies that promotes equality 10.4, improved regulation of global financial markets and institutions 10.5, enhanced representation for developing countries in financial institutions 10.6, responsible and well-managed migration policies 10.7, special and differential treatment for developing countries 10.8, encourage development assistance and investment in least developed countries 10.b, and reduce transaction costs for migrant remittances 10.c. These are the targets set by the UN in order to achieve this sustainable development goal. So, the question is, what can we do to help achieve this goal? First of all, raise your voice against any type of discrimination. Everyone is equal, regardless of their gender, race, sexual orientation, social background, and physical abilities. Visit social shelters, orphanages, or minority community centers and organize a conversation space to discuss the importance of these rights or volunteer there regularly. Support migrants and refugees in your communities. Volunteer in a local refugee camp. Gather or donate the appliances, food, and clothes needed. Most importantly, introspect and root out discrimination from within. Let go of all stereotypes and see everyone as a fellow human. Treat everyone with equality and compassion. Until we treat everyone equally, we don't have the right to complain about the treatment we receive from anyone. To conclude, I would like to quote Malala Yousafzai. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. Thank you for listening to me. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ayush, for sharing your fabulous ideas with all of us so that how can we achieve the SDG goal 10. Now, next, I would like to call Miss Kavya.
Please give the screen share access.
Just a minute.
I've got it.
Okay.
Let's just share the PPT. Very good evening to one and all present here. Today, I, Kavya Banga, is here to talk about the SDG Goal 11. The name of the goal is taking sanitization of cities and communities. Goal 11. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This might be the goal India is lacking around the most. India is nowadays very less sanitized, as well as the resilient, which means the people can live and are known as the good residents. India is lacking behind because we are not safe where we are living. Goal 11.1 Housing and Slums. Goal 11.2 Sustainable Transport. 11.3 Participatory planning, 11.4. Cultural heritage, 11.5. Disaster reduction, 11.6. Air quality and waste management, 11.7. Public spaces. These days, we have been noticing that there is a lot of smog outside our houses. That is not the only reason of the cold which is rising. In fact, cold is also a reason which is our mistake. Because of global warming, we experience extreme climates. The summers are extremely hot and the winters are extremely cold. 11.6. The air quality and waste management. Smog is not only fog, it is smoke and fog. The air quality index is decreasing at a very high rate, which is a great problem. 11A. Rural, urban, and regional planning. 11B. Mitigation of climate change, resilience. 11C. LDC support buildings. Urban areas related to SDG indicators. Out of 234 global SDG indicators, 56% require monitoring and reporting at urban, city, or levels. Out of all the urban or city related SDG indicators, only 45% are totally or partially covered by routine survey programs like MICS, DHS, etc. The rest require spatial data. Spatial data is a kind of data which is connected indirectly or directly to a particular geographical area. Need for spatial area in the monitoring of SDG 11. Target 1, houses and slums. 11.1, proportion of urban populating living in slums or informal settlements and inadequate housing. This is what we call spatial data, the data which is connected to a particular geographical area. As such, target 1, which includes housing and slums. The data of housing and slums is the middle part, which is the 11.1. Target 2, transport, 11.2. Proportion of the population that has convenient access to public transport within 0.5 kilometers. Last time, my grandma visited us from Germany and told me that here the transport system is lacking behind, whereas in Germany, when they step down the stairs, they have every access to buses, trains, taxis, etc. Target 3, planning. Ratio of land consumption to population growth rate. It is very efficient and useful these days. Target 3, planning. Percentage of cities with a direct participation structure of civil society in urban planning and management. Target 6, environment, 11.6.1. Percentage of urban social waste regularly collected and with adequate final discharge with regards to the total waste generated in the city. Target 7, public space. The average share of the total buildup of cities that is open space in public use for all. Support countries too. SDG and UN also support countries to create a consistent set of cities for national level reporting that is representative of their territory, geography, and history. Whenever I hear geography, I just think about the spatial data we just talked about, which is a very important part of us these days. Without the spatial data collected by the UN, we won't be able to complete the goals and receive them. Spatial indicators, ratio of land consumption rate to population growth rate. Main features, city population and build-up area. Here we have some more growth rates and the spatial data. PGR, which is also known as the population growth rate, where population, total population within the city in the past or the initial years. Population, total population within the city in the current or the final years. Participation, partnerships for SDGs. As we have heard these days a lot of times that tali ek haath se nahi bajti. Same way, SDG also tells us that without us, the goals would not be completed. So we highly need to support SDG and we do. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Kavya. It was nice presentation. Now moving to our next speaker, that is Master Vyom.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Ma'am, please allow me to share my screen.
I'm just sharing the slide for you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Hello, everyone. My name is Vyom Sharma. I'm 11 years old, and I'm studying in 6th standard in Central School, New Delhi. As you may be aware that United Nations system consists of 6 principal organs of United Nations, and UN General Assembly or UNGA happens to be one of them. In 2015, UNGA came up with Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. These are also known as global goals. As my previous speakers have informed about these goals, SDGs are a collection of T17 interlinked global goals and are designed to be a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. SDGs are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. Now, friends, coming to my today's topic, that is SDGs goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. Let's see what is Sustainable Development Goal 12 in a bit more detail. You might think that over the last couple of decades, production patterns and consumption choices have become much more sustainable. Take for instance, today's LEDs use 10 times less energy than old filament light bulbs, or flat screen TVs are more efficient than those bulky cathode ray tube TVs, which you might know from your grandparents' house, or cars, which are now more aerodynamic, lightweight, and have more fuel efficient engines than older days. There are many more examples of products that have become more efficient in recent years. With all those innovations, surely the environmental impact of a consumption has gone down, right? The answer is no. Despite all these improvements, our consumption and production patterns have overall become less sustainable. But why? The answer is complex but has a lot to do with what is called the rebound effect. Basically, what happens is that an increase in the technology efficiency may drive an increase in consumption. Improvements in production patterns have made many products like cars and TVs more efficient and often cheaper too. And in response to this, we have been consuming them a lot more. Instead of one light bulb, we are now using multiple LEDs and in more places. New TVs are becoming larger and larger, making cars more fuel efficient. That allows people to trade in their smaller cars for larger SUV type models and made the smaller ones affordable for people who previously did not even own a car. Sustainable development must consider environment, society, and economy all at the same time. The well-known IPAT equation supports an analysis of the challenge. That central driving force to the development of sustainable production and patterns and consumption patterns. It presents the total environmental impact I as a function of the central drivers represented by human population P, human affluence A, which can be interpreted here as consumption, and technology factor T, which can equate to production patterns. To get an idea of how challenging it is to ensure amount of sustainability, consider the following conditions for sustainable climate change impact I in 2050. According to the IPCC,
We need to reduce our greenhouse gas emission in 2050 by up to 70% of the current level to have a reasonable probability to stay below the 2-degree limit for global temperature rise set by the Paris Agreement. Meanwhile, the global production P is predicted to increase by a factor of 1.4 to reach 9.75 billion in 2050. Average affluence A, and therefore consumption is expected to increase worldwide. Thanks to the economic growth of developing nations, and here a factor of 2 seems to be a conservative estimate. To achieve a 70% reduction in impact I, the technology factor T has to compensate the increase in P and A. So the T needs to be decreased by a factor of close to 10. It is important to remember that the factors in the IPAC equation are not independent. Consumption and production, or affluence and technology, often go hand in hand, as examples of LEDs, TVs, and cars illustrate. They can create a rebound effect in which major improvements in efficiency are outweighed by major increase in consumption. SDG 12 specifically addresses responsible consumption and production. It aims to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns with some of the targets concerning sustainable management, in addition to use of natural resources. Food waste reduction through prevention, reduction, and recycling and reuse, environmentally sound management of chemicals, dissemination of information about the company practices that support sustainable procurement and consumption. Irrespective of the product or the industry, an important tool in understanding responsible consumption and production is life cycle thinking, because it is not enough to develop solutions for environmental friendly and end of life managing products such as recycling. Products provide functions by using background and foreground systems. Foreground systems are those systems which specific for the operation of the product along its life cycle. In contrast, background systems are generated. They support the operation of the foreground system but are not specific to create that product. Let's take electric cars as an example. In the foreground system, there is the entire life cycle of the electric vehicles from materials in manufacturing used to the end of life. In background system, there is electricity and energy or other form used throughout the electric vehicle's life cycle. Although energy is critical for the operation of the electric vehicle foreground system, this is also generic and used by other product systems such as TVs and cars specifically. When we think about sustainability of electric vehicles, we need to consider not only the foreground system but also how the foreground system interacts with the background system. In electric vehicle case, the foreground system can have a lower footprint. However, if the supporting background system relies heavily on fossil fuels, then the environmental impact shifts from tailpipe emissions to upstream energy supply. Similar examples can be found in other product systems, such as products simple as beverages in plastic bottles, such as Coke and Pepsi. In this case, the main attention has always been on the beverage container and how they should be treated. In reality, the environmental impact hotspot is in the forming of corn syrup used for making the beverage, which is in the background system. But a life cycle perspective is not enough to achieve SDG 12 because it ultimately assumes that consumption and production are independent, which is rarely the case. Remember the rebound effect? A strong increase in the eco-efficiency of the products and technologies is clearly needed to ensure a sustainable level of environmental impact. But examples like LEDs and TVs and cars illustrate that focus on co-efficiency is not enough to ensure sustainable consumption and production in the future. There is a need to analyze the overall impact in terms of environmental impact for a product or technology and related to the share of operating space that is product or technology can claim. Considering the size of its market to ensure that the environments lead to the solution that are not just more sustainable than what they replace, but sustainable in absolute terms. Solutions then can likely develop products never to be discarded or to provide the service without having to own the product. The point is this: technology cannot achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals without considering society and its ever increasing affluence. As the rebound effect shows, we are only needed to environmentally friendly production patterns. We also need to think consumption. So the buck stops with us. Think about your own consumption patterns. Try to gain a life cycle perspective and ask yourself, what are the environmental impact hotspots in the production systems and services you consume? Are there better alternatives to these products? And most importantly, do you really need them? I would like to thank you all for patient listening. I would also like to show my gratitude to the organizer for conveying such a thought-provoking and lively event. Thank you all once again and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Vyom, for sharing the information with us. It was nice presentation. So, ma'am, can we move? So, moving to the next round, let me ask my first question to Rasleen. Rasleen,
Yes, ma'am.
Rasleen, what are the targets of SDG 9 in the relationship to innovation?
As per my understanding, the targets must be of providing space to everyone for work and live with proper infrastructure, but with some innovative methods. As I said earlier, that by shifting some of the industrial portions to the residential areas or working from home and working in different shifts will be a great help to sustain resources for the future generation.
Okay, thank you. I strongly agree with you, Rasleen. Moving next, my next question is from Miss Kavya.
Yes, ma'am.
Kavya, I would like to know from you that what will you do to safeguard your city and achieve SDG Goal 11?
Ma'am, I would be pointing to some of the major problems that I feel that I personally face in my city, and also that my friends, my family, others also think that I'm right, is that we do not manage the waste we have. We just go on throwing it. We have one dustbin in our house. Like everyone in Faridabad has just one dustbin in their house. None of the waste is segregated. We need to segregate the waste because we need to decrease the amount of, unsanitized we are. Also, I would like to point to the pedestrian walking thing. Nowadays, the roads and all are thoda bahut clean in Faridabad. Earlier, it was very difficult because you have never seen those pedestrian walkings like beside the road or anything, and the stop walks, they are not there. Like, we need the stop walks. If you are a person who prefers walking, if you have to walk from my house to a nearby place, you will have to walk on the zebra line when you have to cross the road, but no one follows the zebra line. They just don't stop on the stop sign.
Okay. So Kavya, can you tell me what are you going to do for that? Personally, what will be your action if anyone you can share?
Segregating the dustbins, like the basic thing I need to do, which I am like freely speaking that I am not doing currently, but I would like surely try to do it. And also one more thing is carpooling and stopping, telling my father to stop before the stop line of the zebra cross.
Oh, thank you so much, Kavya. Now, Master Vyom,
Yes, ma'am.
Vyom, what can we do to achieve the SDG 12, responsible consumption and production? What can we do for that?
Ma'am, in my opinion, we can switch to energy efficient CFL light bulbs, use water and electricity and other products only when needed, and reduce the waste of them to a bare minimum.
Okay, so we can reduce the waste to the bare minimum and use any any product that you are using wisely, whether it is electricity, water, or any product.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing that? Because first you need to take the step.
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually trying to do it. And
Okay. So thank you, Vyom. It was great listening to you all. I hope views shared by you all will be useful for many others. With your beautiful thoughts, it is very much clear that it is the need of the hour to sustain our resources for our future generation. We must think about it and make others aware too. So now over to you, Rasleen. Or
Thank you, ma'am, for conducting the wonderful conference. Now it's time to invite the founder and managing director of HITS, Dr. Arnab Bhatkar, ma'am. Ma'am, please conclude this conference with your words of wisdom.
Thank you so much, Rasleen. Yes, each one of you were amazing, presenting your thoughts, the solutions, and taking it forward. It was amazing and very good listening to every pointers that you all have noted. And Vyom, it was a very good presentation with the pointers. When
thank you, ma'am.
looking at your age, I mean, really will tell that, you have made a beautiful presentation with a lot of information, but at the same time, you need to really, start working on that. That is what is our goal of heads, that once we give the presentation, let us start in small terms. And whatever you do, you can make a small video which can help you all to present that this is the way that we students of heads or the Youth League Association is trying on these small aspects of SDG. right? Either you save water, you save a plant, you plant a tree, you dispose the garbage, segregating the garbage, anything that you do on a daily basis, just record it with one statement. Let us do this, let us do that, which would help us. So we can accumulate all that. And definitely that would be a great start towards the SDG goals. And it was really, I'm so happy to listen to you all and the effort that has been put through by all of you. First, give a round of applause to all of you that you all very well deserve for your own self. And unless you have that confidence, praise yourself, pat your back, and you go forward, that confidence level will definitely come to you. And I really appreciate every time that I see you on this platform, after the other event, I see a lot of changes, a lot of improvement in each one of you, which I mean that it is really taking a different turn. So yes, thank you so much, my dear students. So let us wind up this program today. And I think Rasleen or Ms. Dr. Shweta will take it further. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words. With this, I take this opportunity to thank God for making this event a great success. Students have participated enthusiastically, and I am thankful to them for concluding their thoughts. I'm thankful to all the mentors and guests present here for sparing the time for us. It was truly inspiring to hear the student speakers, and I pay my gratitude to all of them. I'm obliged to Dr. Arna Vadkar ma'am, Dr. Anirudh ma'am, Dr. Shweta ma'am for concluding this wonderful conference. Once again, thank you everyone for coming and taking out your time.